Greetings, everyone. My name is Tom Caswell, and welcome to Tokusatsu Now, the podcast designed to onboard newcomers to the wonderful genre of Tokusatsu, as well as to offer a deep dive to longtime fans of the genre. My name is Tom Caswell. I did already say that. And I am joined by Mike and Eric. Lads, how we doing?
Doing great, man. How you guys doing?
Doing good. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. We got a new show.
We got a new show.
A new show. It's an old show made as a new show.
Yeah, we got a new show, and we got Kamen Rider on its holiday episodes. Anytime a Kamen Rider holiday thing happens, some stuff's about to go down.
Yeah, I'm a bit behind on Zets. I was caught up, and then it's just fallen off the last couple of weeks, so I need to catch up. I have been thoroughly enjoying the show. I guess it's in the early 22, I think, was the episode that just aired. So yeah, we're definitely about to hit like the middle of the show. Love everything that they've set up, and I know that we're starting to get into the other agents and everything, or the lords. Really confused on how all that works. Excited to get back to that. But yes, today we are here to talk about, we've been teasing it for so long. Super Space Sheriff Gavan Infinity is here, and let's just address the elephant in the room. No simulcast. I told everyone, I was ringing the klaxons. I was like, they're gonna do the thing. Seems to be a quote that people have said about the kind of lead producer at Toei, and I've been trying to find this quote, but basically insinuating that they're waiting to see if Gavan will perform in Japan, because obviously it does have to be well received domestically. They've just cancelled a 50-year running TV show and are replacing it with something quote unquote new. So it does make sense if that is the case. Again, I was unable to verify because no one's doing official translations of these interviews, and so it's just kind of all based off of word of mouth. But no simulcast, at least in English. I believe there are simulcasts in Brazil where Gavan was a show. Like it kind of has a bit of a cultural cachet there, and so they're putting it in markets that have a bit of familiarity, it seems, already with Gavan. But which is disappointing. But I was able to find a subtitled version of the episode and share it with you guys first thing this morning, which I was happy about. So if you are also like us and disappointed that there's no simulcast, it's relatively easy to go track it down yourself. And believe me,
it's time to return to tradition.
Yeah, return to the
This is how we had to live.
Oh my god, having to download the episode and watch it on my computer just brought me back to like 2011, like how I watched Tokaiger. I was like, wow, the last decade and a half of streaming, especially imported streaming media, has just like spoiled me.
Yeah,
because I just feel like I could just turn on YouTube and I get to watch Kamen Rider. So like having to download an episode and watch it, and I assume this is how I'm going to be watching it piece by piece.
Yeah,
I'm like, I'm way too old for this.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to the old me. Yeah, at least it's not in 360p and multiple like files you have to open with WinRAR to join into one file that then you can watch.
I
remember that. Yeah,
I admit I did turn up my nose a little bit because the video file that you sent, like, we could find the RAWs. And there was also, I found the subs in the file, but the one that you sent us, which was already in NKV, was only 1080p, and I was like, it's not 4K.
I thought, so Tom kindly shared us the link, and I thought I could like simulcast it from my phone so I could watch on my couch and on my beautiful TV with like the sound bar that I have, so the sound can really boom. But then you were just like, oh no, the English subtitles are only viewable on VLC. And I was like, God damn it. This is really throwing it back to my old days watching Sentai.
Yeah, you have to like turn them on because it's an actual subtitle layer that they've added to the show. Cool. Anyway, so yes, we've all seen the first episode of Gavan Infinity. Excited to talk about it. I've got a couple of notes, but why don't you know what, Eric? What did you think? Just kind of top level thoughts of the episode.
top level thoughts. It feels like we haven't missed a thing. Like this does feel spiritually and stylistically so much like a new Sentai. It barely feels like a new show, and I say that in a good way. I think that's there's a continuity here that feels nice. Whatever problems I have with Gavan so far are just problems I have with modern tokusatsu in general. I think I've expressed before how annoyed I am, and I understand why they do it, but I'm annoyed by like how toyetic a lot of these shows are today. Like forgive me, but like I've got the old like Red Ranger Yugeki Ken like on my wall, and like that looks like a sword. My complaint with Gavan so far is just that like the weapons, the arsenals, everything does look a little too toyetic, which I understand. They're trying to sell the toys. They want to get kids excited.
That's why we have the show.
That's why we have the show. I can't be too much of a grumpy millennial boomer about it. But I am also a man in his 30s, and I kind of wish that, whatever. But right now, love the show, love the characters. The main character is a lot of fun. The world building is a little confusing. I understand that there's a space federation and they control the multiverse. I understand some of that. They're getting a little convoluted with like, oh no, his division is top secret, but everyone thinks that they're a loser division. But actually, they're actually like saving the world.
They are
little overcooked there, yeah. But
yeah, so
it's good. Yeah,
yeah, I was kind of like, so as the setup is because there are so many layers. So there is the division that the group that they full work for protects the Earth, and they are the documents division.
Right.
Right. But the multiversal part is just for them. Like,
yes.
I don't know if the rest of the organization knows there is a multiverse. To the point even that the rest of the organization, so as we guessed when we talked about this before, the joke guy and his little partner
Wanabuchi and Patran.
And Patran, who has a like real deep voice, which I did not expect.
Actually, real quick to I know these characters. I actually think they are refreshingly kind of, because they are the comical duo. But yeah, you have this goofy toy-looking like 3-year-old, a toy for a 3-year-old alien
with this
detective
deep cop voice,
who is the more competent of the two, and the other guy is the less competent, but at the same time they're also kind of assholes, which I didn't expect. I thought they were going to be like the cute and like, oh, we're just incompetent, and like,
no, they're the Rock and Samuel L. Jackson from the
Vulcan Skull of the show. Yeah. Anyway, please continue.
Yeah, so you have them
familiar with the multiverse.
They do not seem to be familiar with the multiversal part at all.
Yeah.
And then, and I guess slightly jumping ahead, even when we finally see one of the other members who we know is Gavan Bushido, he doesn't seem to know. Like he is working for the same organization on his Earth,
right? Which is separate. It's a different iteration. That it's not one organization for the multiverse. Each universe, or Cosmo layer as they call it, has their own one. And Gavan's boss, who has the dream at the beginning, knows about all of the different layers. Right. And seemingly Gavan Infinity is the hero of the who will save the entire multiverse, so that's why they
so there are multiple. I get what Eric's saying. It's like there are multiple layers here. There's one organization, and then there's a superseding organization, which really the show is about. The superseding multiversal organization, not the local Earth Space Cop.
Mm-hmm.
And they even, I think they even call it when they launch into the multiverse, like the boss man calls a multiversal, like multiversal Uchukeiji Gavan, like okay. And it will be interesting to see how they sort of build on that, because like the character we know is Gavan Bushido. It's like, what's a Gavan Infinity?
Yeah.
So he knows there is a Gavan. He is not unfamiliar with Gavan at
Well,
all.
he himself is already Bushido, right? Like, he transforms at the end of the episode. So he's
Yeah.
like, I know Gavan Bushido, who is me, but like, what is Gavan
what is
Infinity?
Gavan Infinity,
Yeah.
right? And does he already work for the multiversal organization in some fact? Like, we'll probably get there.
Yeah.
This was a very Gavan Infinity centric episode about the Red. It is the Red Ranger episode,
Project Red.
similar to say like Kyoryuger had a very red centric first episode. Dawn Brothers had a very red centric first episode. This seemed to be like that. Although in the multiversal dream, we did get to see what looks to be the entire squad.
Yeah, which is interesting. So I have this here. I made some notes about some like important bits of dialogue because real quick, my top level thoughts. I enjoyed the first episode. I think that what it has going for it, and it's so funny that this is not the one that is being aired to English audiences, but I'm like, it's a cop show. We love propaganda and even there are lines where it's like there are still malicious aliens committing crimes. I'm like, all right, guys, can we read the room? Can we read the fucking room, Japan? Jesus Christ!
I mean, technically, they read the room in the other direction. They were like, Earth has all of these other aliens on it, and it is led to a world of prosperity and diversity.
Yeah,
although
everything
all the
is
aliens
great.
have. All the aliens have, and they only talk about this. They never go into the details. All the aliens have something like little holographic generators that makes them look human, so we never have to see that they're aliens.
It was like, what
Japan doesn't. Japan doesn't have an ice problem. Let's just be real. They don't have that right now.
Well, we're not going to get into Japan's
yes
the all of that, but
geopolitics in Japan.
But that was funny where they were like, yeah, aliens live here peacefully, but they have to assimilate. Like, if they don't fucking assimilate, like, it's gonna be a problem. So in the opening we get that vision of all of the ships flying, and then also it's confirmed that is the Maku space, this kind of this desolate wasteland that's Inception folding in on itself, and the line is, if we don't stop it now, which is this invasion from the Maku space, all of Earth's cosmo layers will be engulfed by the Maku space. And on that, we see 5 Gavans. We see Infinity, Bushido, and Luminous. We see a second Luminous.
Yes, and that's the thing. So the interesting part is the other 2 that we see there are clearly just a recolored Luminous and a recolored Gavan Infinity,
which I'm assuming is Death Gavan.
Gavan Death, and I'm wondering if maybe the other Luminous is just
the
one partner
who they were like, maybe it is, maybe they both are Luminous. That's what I was thinking too. I was like, fuck, she's gonna get to be Luminous.
To which I ask, welcome back, Super Sentai.
Yes,
like right from the beginning. Welcome back, Super Sentai.
Yeah.
But 2, will they have a 6th, and will it just be a recolored of Bushido's outfit?
Yeah, sure. Right, exactly. There's still lots of rumors swirling around the length of this show. A lot of people seem to think it's going to be half a year versus the full year. So we'll see if this is a show that goes the full run, and if this is a premonition of something they're setting up for the very end of the show, or what have you. But to me, this episode really, I think, actually did a really good job of, all right, here are concepts you're familiar with. Space cop, there's aliens on planet Earth, and they're the police, right, to navigate this. And then very simple ideas of, there's a multiverse. And they even have the little AGI explains, like, there's different Earths and everything is slightly different. But at the same time, while there was a lot of like kind of straightforward things about the show, it does set up these intriguing mysteries of Carol, Commander Quam, the head of this police organization, has this vision of the whole multiverse ending. Avengers Doomsday style, I guess. We have the fact that the Gavans don't like does each Earth know, and what they even have the line of dialogue at the end where it's like, why is the documentation division so secret? We're gonna save that for another time, right? Like that they're the people who are getting the emo gears, right? These emotional energy batteries, essentially, which
Although when we were talking last time, we were like, how are they not going to know that the Gavan works for the documentation vision and he's also Gavan? And the answer is it doesn't matter because they just happen to be there like the
right
maybe
after he
like
changes
10
back.
seconds
Yes.
after he changes back, and apparently this is how their life goes.
Yeah.
Like, sure,
And they
you know what?
seem
It's
to
fine.
be, they and their collective name, Wanabuchi and Paran, is Wanapat, right? They refer to them as Wanapat, which I thought was fun. But they seem to have a reverence for Gavan, not
Right.
knowing that Daki is Gavan. And we got that little throw out too. So I was interested there of like, okay, so what do other people know about the hero? How often is he doing this and all of this? So I
Reminds me a little
felt like
okay.
it. No, it's okay. It just felt like it was setting up intriguing mysteries, and I can't wait to kind of unravel those while it also being a pretty straightforward concept.
Yeah.
Please go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, I just wanted to shout out really quickly that it reminds me of Flash Thompson loving Spider-Man but bullying Peter Parker.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's such a great and apt thing, and that is always and in a way, Bulk and Skull loved the Power Rangers, right? They were their number one fans, and they bullied the people who they were. Yeah, it's always a solid, kind of archetype to have for these side characters. Yeah, and some other things that I noted. So obviously as well, there's like this emotional surge, and a big buildup of negative emotions when someone it seems to be in possession of an emo gear. That if that swells, it can transfer to other planets and then eventually cause the whole multiversal collapse. There seems to be a big mystery around who is distributing the emo gears, and I'm assuming it's like the Maku, right, in the Maku space, who are just giving them to random people. Because we have the fight in the very beginning, and at the end of it, Gavan is like, "Where did you get this?" Right, to the guy with who had the arm transformation. Cool to see, just like regular guys having a fight. We don't get to see that anymore, really, in Sentai. So that was fun.
The emotional aspect is like the emo gears and things like that. That's gonna have to grow on me.
Yeah,
I still there are things in modern tokusatsu again that I feel kind of like, oh, that's not necessary. This is a little convoluted. And like Gavan rooting itself in human emotions just feels a little like, oh, that feels a little random. Can't he just be a space cop? Like, can he just be a guy going after I guess criminals, alien criminals? But no, there's this whole added thing of emotions. We're seeing a little bit of how it's going to influence the show. I was intrigued by how, again, Tom just mentioned it, how strong emotions are irregular, and that is how Gavan goes from planet to multiverse planet, and he has to correct this wrong. So I guess too much anger on this planet, too much sadness on this planet, too much whatever. But it just for me right now, just at first blush, I'm like, this doesn't feel necessary. Can't he just be a guy who just goes in and stops bad guys? I guess we have to do this whole Inside Out thing. Not sure. Like again, like I'm seeing it. It's more toys. It's more like, oh, collect all the emo
It's for the gimmick, yeah.
It's for the gimmick, which again, I think that's where my exhaustion comes from, because it does come back to like, oh no, it's things you have to collect.
And they tried to work it in a little bit. He uses some of the ancillary ones to like at the beginning make the criminals fall in love with him.
Yes.
And then
figure that out. I was like, wait.
And then he uses the loneliness one on some people in the crowd later when he lands on the other. Although that one didn't make sense to me because I was like, okay, is it supposed to make them feel loneliness but no, it just sort of wraps them in cyclones. I was
Yeah.
like, we don't
Well, I think
know
it
what.
meant I think the concept was it puts them in a cyclone that like gets them away and like
From everyone
makes
else.
them alone, right? Like, okay, that's the way we're adapting that. All right.
Yeah, so it's clearly like a, as you say, thing purely for the gimmick, and they are trying to work it in as sort of additional ways. Like he has to tap into his particular emotion, which is anger, rage, one of those two,
Anger, yeah.
before he can traverse
I
dimensions.
liked that where it was. I thought that we were gonna we get this flashback of something happening in his past that is triggering his anger, and I thought it was just gonna be, oh, we're gonna have the moment, and like, oh no, he has to channel that memory in order to like open up, I guess, a hole in this fabric of time and space to traverse into this other
Which is why I think
multiverse.
all of this will grow on me eventually. I remember Kamen Rider Deno Zeranos. His power, like the thing that supplied his power, was memories, people's
Yep.
memories of him, and every time he transformed, he was basically sacrificing people's
Dude,
memories of him.
that
So
shit
like
was so fire.
yeah, I remember. Like the last time he transformed was like the person he loved just forgot him completely. Strong thing. So I can see this growing on me. Just like for now, at first blush, on the first episode, seeing all the toys, I'm like, Toei can't help but be Toei about this,
Yeah.
and I don't blame them. I don't blame them. This is how they survive. But it's also like, I miss my Showa Heisei era Tokusatsu, where like things could just be a story.
I will say, I was hoping that they did it. And when he henshins in the second time in the episode, the show era callback that they used to do in the original Gavan, where they're like, "All right, so he's henshin, he's electroplated. Let's go back and show you exactly what's happening. We're going to explain it's happening in 1 millisecond." I'm
It's
like,
even faster now. It's
yes.
even faster now.
I was like, yeah, that's the
Yeah.
stuff I like.
Well, you gotta have the transformation shot, right? So,
Yeah.
you know,
So I hope they do more of that. The old Gavan used to do it like they will literally just like slow down whatever was happening right before and show the armor coming onto them. I hope they do more of that for each of them.
oh yeah.
Just a quick note too, Gavan. I recently realized Gavan is streaming. The original Gavan is streaming on Tubi. So as you watch Gavan Infinity, you can also go back and watch the old Gavan, just for comparison, or just because you love this stuff so much and you want more. So go check it out.
I'm sure we will get obviously transformation sequences for the others. I liked the what they set up for Bushido and his demeanor and like everything with that. I thought there was some interesting lines of dialogue about all the emotion stuff, like the sister talking to the brother, and yeah, I agree with Eric where I'm like, I have a bit of an averse reaction to like they're space cops and then they've got these goofy little gachapon looking fucking toys, literally toys that they're using. Like, how does that make sense? But I think they will find interesting ways to at least develop the narrative of it. Whether the gimmick is something that like is something that the gimmick itself grows on me, like the actual physical nature of these like little batteries. That's probably not going to happen, but the story that they can tell with like the emotions and everything, that can be fertile ground for um for what they could do, for things they could do in the narrative. And so I'm definitely eager to see it play out. And another little tidbit here, I thought what was interesting is they have this line that reoccurs multiple times when they speak about AGI, right? Who is this robot who can also turn into the particle form, and that's what that earring even does. She just presses her earring, and she can, so you become particles and immediately transport across the cyberspace, and then even like be a new, in a way that reminded me of what's her name from Zets, where she's playing different roles in every dream.
Nem.
Nem, thank you. in a similar way to Nem. She can just show up and she's like, okay, great, and now I'm a nurse and I can help, the sister recover or what have you. I did find it interesting that so Bushido, who is the head of the security department, there's this scuff between like a bunch of like disenfranchised people who are being led by this guy who is being really emo about like, oh, the society and like institutions and everything, and his solution was just to blow shit up with it. I didn't really understand what his motivation was there, but he'd obviously riled up all these people. So Bushido shows up and he's like, oh, instead of dealing with this thing, I'm gonna whisk this guy just randomly, Gavan, Deki, and or Doki, sorry, and this guy's sister, and then I'm gonna watch them like have a conversation. Then the guy's gonna run off and deal with this thing. I'm like, you're the guy. You are the guy. Why are you not getting stuck into this? And I know it's obviously to set up like so Infinity can have his moment, and then Bushido can confront him at the end. But that was interesting. And it was just that was my main problem with this episode, is that none of that logically made sense of why these characters are here and interacting. Like, it makes sense for like Gavan to show up right into this universe, but yeah, for Bushido to act the way that he did, and I know that he's a robot and he has problems with like emotions and shit, but that made zero sense to me.
To me, it's just like, oh yeah, we forget that this is a 30-minute toy commercial show. So they only have so much time to explore a lot of these. They have to be so broad strokes, and it's like I'd be fascinated to know like what the geopolitics of this alien planet is, but we're never going to have time for that. It's always just like, oh, just going to throw Gavan in and get the hero shots that we need. But that's why we love this kind of stuff, I guess.
I love the choreography, though. I thought, like, again, the suits look great. The suits look fantastic. And I thought that the fight choreography and everything looked really cool. I loved his, like, little jet propulsion arm thing he did where he did the slide and shoot. That was really neat. Yeah, I will probably watch the episode again just for the choreography.
Yeah, there was one shot in the first fight where it's like a cloud of smoke. Like, he blocks the one alien's attack and he ends up in a cloud of smoke, and it's just like the highlights on the Gavan suit and sword slashes, and I was like, all right, that's a cool look.
It looks so good in motion. They cracked that code.
Yeah. I'm gonna be disappointed if we don't get more designs. Like, obviously, we have that tease of the future, and it's like, okay, so it's just two Luminuses and then another reskin, recolor of Gavan. Like, hopefully we get to see more designs out of this, because I just think that the aesthetic the show is going for is really, really cool. But yeah, I guess time will tell on whether we get, and I'm obviously we'll get like additional forms and stuff like this, and they also probably, in a myriad ways in which these shows often do, we tease the end of the show. Like, this is not the first time a show has had like the first shot is like the final confrontation of the season, and then what actually that looks like, even though it's meant to be the same moment, is radically different than what is teased in the first episode. So I wouldn't be surprised if there are just going to be more Gavans and they just don't have that kind of like put together or figured out, but they will be in that quote unquote final face off against the Maku. Cool. I thoroughly thought this was a really strong first episode. Highly recommend anyone that hasn't watched it, go check it out.
May I propose a quick question to the group?
Yeah, go ahead.
We only have one episode so far, so just take that, taking that into account. Do we think that this is strong enough to really take the place of Super Sentai?
I will say strong enough as in you land it and you're like, oh, this is why you shut down Super Sentai. But like mentally, like, I'm like, okay, I can like vaguely see what they were trying to do here. Like it as soon as you see all five, you're just like, oh, okay, that we're just doing Super Sentai. The difference really is in maybe the storytelling a bit where you can just be like, oh, this is about Gavan Infinity more than everybody else
Mm-hmm.
in a way that you really can't with Super Sentai.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can have red focused episodes, and even you look back across the last 10 years outside of some of the weirder ones, like there's always the rotation. You have the red focus episode, blue focus episode, pink focus episode, yellow focus episode, whatever the fifth color, you loop back around, then you introduce the sixth, then you do the loop again.
Mm-hmm.
Theoretically, I mean, the show is called Gavan Infinity, and so maybe they will focus more on Reiji rather than the rest of them.
Mhm.
Because if they don't, then you're
just
just doing
yeah.
it's just Super Sentai.
Yeah. No, I think that's going to be the case, and I think that's the whole point of the Project Red is it is the one hero, and there are these ancillary characters, and we will get their episodes, but it will be through Infinity's lens. He will play a larger role in their episode than you might traditionally find.
Maybe a weird comparison to bring up, but I'm seeing that like the Gavan Infinity could feel a lot like some of the Arrowverse shows where you would always have like Supergirl in her own show, the Flash in his own show, but they would be surrounded by like new characters and new heroes around them, and they would get some focus episodes. I don't know. Again, maybe I'm just nostalgic for the Arrowverse right now, but just thinking about that, the Gavan Infinity is bringing up some Arrowverse vibes, if you want to know. At least, again, we only have one episode to go off of, so who knows?
Yeah, it'll be it's really fascinating just to be at the start of this project season. Like we're at the beginning of so many different things. Like, what does Project Red look like in a few years when we have multiple different shows under its belt? Like that'll be fascinating.
So, just for clarification, this is Project Red is the franchise, right?
Yes.
And so Gavan Infinity is one show in this franchise. When Gavan Infinity finishes, like we're like TBD on what Project Red will be.
Correct. So the way they seemingly explained it is Project Red is focused on the red hero. So I guess everyone will have a red hero. But it sounded like from the producers is that they're going to take times and sort of refresh maybe some of the other stuff that they have within their stable. So like maybe we get like a Project Red Super Ninja Akakage, where you take that old Ninja Akakage show concept and you do it up again, and it's Sentai with a Ninja Akakage branding.
Yeah,
because essentially, yes, I like what we got here, but it is Sentai with a Gavan like layer over it.
and
That's fine.
Yeah, and I think that they're being very just let's wait and see, right? Like okay, if Gavan Infinity doesn't hit, we have a lot more flexibility to do something different in the next season of a Project Red TV show, and I think they built it to have that flexibility. That being said, I can totally see a world where Gavan Infinity is popular, the toys do sell, so they decide to make more Gavan, and Project Red for a time is Gavan until that well dries, and then they can switch it out, and they can, all right, we can do the ninja show, right? Like we can do this, that we can introduce
they
completely new sub franchises. We can come up with new concepts. It doesn't have to be we're pulling this out of the dustbin, right? When Kabuto Fighter, is coming out.
Akumizer, Kaketsu Zuba, Koi Trust,
I would watch Jiraiya Infinity. Like, I would love to see a comeback of that franchise.
and see like Henshin Ninja Jiraiya. Like, okay, we're gonna do Project Red Super Henshin Ninja Jiraiya. Same idea. You got the chicken ninja, but also now there's like a rooster ninja and a cow ninja. It fills out into essentially a Super Sentai team.
Yeah,
but
because people, I saw people theorizing about like, if they ever brought Super Sentai back, would it fall under Project Red? And I mean, my prevailing theory is no. Like that is distinctly a separate franchise. Like, it is over. Like, Sentai is over. It's not going to get folded into this, especially if they are concerned about like licensing and things outside of Japan, with the whole Hasbro element of it. But yeah, I think it's very much just gonna. I think not only do we have any idea what Project Red is, I think Toei also kind of is a bit clueless about what this is. They've got this broad mandate. It has a red hero, which makes sense, right? Like, that's the thing that sells. The red is the thing. Like, it allows you to do something familiar. People understand what a red hero is in Tokusatsu. And then it also gives them a ton of flexibility for it to be whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah, and I'd say like Super Sentai was able to pursue that flexibility in certain shows. I keep going back to Dawn Brothers, which was probably the most like further afield in that. But then you also have stuff like Q Ranger, where that was also like, you got one red, he's in every episode, but then the rest of the 4 or 5 man team is switched out from a larger roster of like 13 or 14 total Rangers they had in that one. And I get the feeling that perhaps they felt a little bit constrained,
yes,
under the Super Sentai name and what they could do. They know they want a colored group of heroes, but maybe they didn't always want them to be buddy and on the same side, and maybe they wanted a larger organization, or maybe they wanted smaller or more antagonistic, and Project Red allows them to sort of put it under a slightly different umbrella.
And I think also as
no
well,
expectations.
Yeah, and I think also as well, it comes down to, again, to come back to like the selling of the toys aspect. You got to imagine that like colors like gold and silver, like these more like heroic colors, I would, like Super Sentai makes it feel like, okay, so red is the important one, and then the other regular colors are all second fiddle to red until we introduce the gold or the silver ranger. That's the sixth ranger. And so with this project, they can say, fuck green, fuck yellow. We've got gold and silver off the bat. And like, as ridiculous as it sounds that, to say, like, that's something they couldn't do with Sentai, because Sentai has all of this history baked in. Gold and silver are the sixth ranger colors. Like, you can get funky and be like, oh, purple, this season there's gonna be a purple. There's no pink. White is a fifth ranger color this season, but you can't do gold and silver in the main 5, with Sentai. And
you always have to do red, yellow, blue, and then
the other two, probably green, probably black, but maybe
green,
a little
black,
weird
pink,
color.
or like,
and then sometimes they got weird with like Tokuja and were like, okay, orange sixth. They were doing copious amounts of drugs that year. They were like, it's going to be trains. The sixth range is going to be orange, and it's going to be one of the best seasons of the show ever.
Do you think it's funny? Not to belabor this point, do you think it's funny that like in Sentai, it took years for them to arrive at gold and silver as like the sixth ranger color? Because in G Ranger, like, just go through it. In G Ranger, it was green.
Mm-hmm.
Die Ranger, white. Kaku Ranger, they didn't have one. O-Ranger, it was like black and gold, like they were getting there, but they were not quite just yet. And
Turbo
then
Ranger was,
Turbo
or
Ranger
not
had
the Car Ranger.
Car Ranger, yeah, and the Mega Ranger, you finally had silver, yeah, and then that's when it really started, yeah.
It's yeah, I mean it's certainly funny to watch the iterations of Power Rangers through that time, because that was a time where it was flexible. You know, obviously, like Jew Ranger was the first, was the introduction of a Sixth Ranger, even as a concept, and then it became part of the canon. And the show at that time still had that allotted flexibility, but also at the same time, then you had Power Rangers coming out, which also kind of canonized a lot of things and kind of encased in many ways Super Sentai in an amber, especially because they had to now make shows that American audiences could also follow, and then that became wishy-washy. And obviously, I think in like the mid 2010, like the last decade or so, as the kind of need and necessity for them to worry about that element dropped, they started to, I think they were trying to push boundaries with what they could get away with. Don Brothers being a great example, King Oja being another one. And you see elements of those shows where they're, the characters are kind of antagonistic toward each other, right? That's something that I think is something that they were doing in more recent seasons that had never really been done before. Like Jetman, you have some of that going on, but most of the time, the team is the team. And now that's something that they can play with in this new show that really kind of, I think people felt like it wasn't really working in like a Super Sentai. And so, yeah, I just think that's what ended up happening there, is the franchise just got too rigid.
Yeah, and I do think that like is part of the remit from the narrative side. Like, all right, now you can play around, you can do whatever. Like we're watching Zets. Nox is a Kamen Rider. He will theoretically become a hero at some point. But right now, he's just evil.
Yeah.
Like, he's just
I don't know why they were like, all right, you got to change your outfit. Now you're a Kamen Rider, but you're still evil. Like,
and that's the kind of thing where, like, Gavan Death is sitting with the team in the vision, but maybe he never actually joins up and joins hands and shakes hands with everybody. Maybe by time we end this, he's mostly antagonistic to them, but is willing to work with them for the larger threat. But like, don't call me like unless that larger threat is coming.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of ways that this show could go, and I think that they've tried to make it as flexible as possible for them to be able to change things up and have different iterations and different different ideas that they can just throw at the wall, essentially.
But now, Toei creators, you have that flexibility, so you gotta use it.
Yeah, flex.
You gotta show me something.
Yeah. Definitely get weird with it. Like let's definitely. And I think that we're getting a bit of taste, and I think it's going to take some time for them to kind of get out from Super Sentai's shadow, right? Like, not that there's a shadow necessarily, but there's a lot of old behaviors, and obviously there is also like the mandate of the Red Hero. So there's probably some kind of sentiment, and they've just kind of got to break away from that and hopefully really build something new. But I'm excited to see where things go. I thought this was a really solid first episode. And I think that if you're a bit jaded at the concept and you're sad that Super Sentai has ended and you're like, fuck Gavan Infinity, I highly recommend checking it out, because I think there's a lot to like here for Tokusatsu fans. Gents, thank you so much for joining me as always. Where can everyone find you online? Eric, we'll start with you.
Sure, you can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky at EricFrancisco24, and you can catch my work on Esquire.com.
Yeah, you got some great stuff up recently.
Oh, thanks, man.
Solidarity, obviously, with you guys as you guys
Thank
are
you.
navigating your union contract. I hope you guys get all of the benefits.
I hope so too. I stand with all my colleagues.
Yeah. Power to the people. And then Mike, yourself.
You can find me on Blue Sky at mhwilliams.bsky.social. As always, I will eventually change that to something more memorable, but I still have not yet. That's the only public-facing thing I have right now. So,
Everyone, let us know what you thought of Gavan Infinity in the comments below. Are you excited about what you saw in the first episode? Any theories on where the show could be going? But until next time, everyone, have a great time, however long, until we see you again. Maybe a week, maybe a month, who knows? But until then, stay safe. And I got to come up with a catchy ending. Fuck it. I don't know. I got to come up with something, a little tagline at the end. Jochaku.